Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, a podcast that is getting a bit confused as to film release days. What days do film get released now, middle pandemic, whatever it is we are now. Middle of 2021, whatever it is we have. My name is Tosin. I am the host of the show. I am based in the United Kingdom in a small town called Bromsgrove in the middle of the country. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight, a small island off the south coast of England, are Sharon.
Hello.
And Shaun.
Oh, yeah.
How are we doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes, well, thank you.
Yeah, cool. So,
how about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm going to try and move on a bit this week because last week when I got off the podcast, I got told off for taking a bit too long having fun with my friends. So
okay,
we did have an upset baby at the end of it. Yes. Where's Daddy?
Yes, we had an upset baby, which led to an upset mother. But so I'm doing having to. So I'm like, okay, I think we might need to cut down the amount of time we talk by 2 minutes to 5 minutes of film.
5 minutes,
instead of 7 minutes
cool.
of film.
That's cool. That suits me.
Yep. But for those of you who may have just walked across us and stumbled across us for the first time, this is Netflix versus Cinema, and what we do on this show is we go to the cinema. Now that we're allowed to again, it feels so good to say that. We go to the cinema and we watch usually three things a week, and we stay at home and watch a couple of things, or we watch 3 things a week. We rate them all out of 5, and at the end of the day, we take an average and we say, this is who won the day. This is where money was better spent. It was either in the cinema or it was on Netflix and Friends. And this week we have gone to the cinema, and I believe we have all seen what is the big release this week. This film has waited and waited and waited to be in the cinemas, like so many others. But this was I remember that this film was one of the big ones that was probably the week when this was declared a pandemic and it said cinemas had to shut. This film was supposed to open and then it couldn't, and that is A Quiet Place Part 2. So if I'm correct, we've all seen that.
Yes.
All right, cool. What else? And so I think Sharon and I both saw A Quiet Place Part 2. I think that was the only thing we saw in the cinema, because with my new life now, I'm allowed to see 1 film a week in the cinema. And Shaun, you picked up the slack. What else did you see?
I saw a film called Nobody.
Yes.
I saw that on Wednesday night, which was released on Wednesday night, so I was lucky to catch that one.
Yep. Yeah, because that's a film I've been looking forward to seeing, and I was talking about the release dates. When I went on Tuesday, it was nowhere to be seen. Then when you said you see Nobody, I was like, how did you see Nobody? I was like, how did you see Nobody? It hasn't been released yet. Then I checked, and it's showing at my local cinema tonight. I'm like, when was that released? And apparently, Wednesday night. Wednesday night is the new premiere night for movies. I didn't know about that. It's a little bit like I was speaking to superfan Nina, and I think she saw a post we put on Facebook, and she was like, what? How did you guys get to see Cruella? We're like, at the cinema. She's like, are cinemas open? And I was like, yes, where have you been? They've been open since the 17th of May. And she's like, oh my God, they are! I haven't heard much from her since, so she might have just have been in the cinema since.
Just in the cinema constantly.
Just been in the cinema constantly. Okay, so we have Nobody. We have A Quiet Place Part 2. And I think, Shaun, we have The Conjuring, which you sort of like gave a cursory thing. So
yeah, I could go a bit more in depth than that, because I
go a little bit more in depth because officially that hasn't counted towards cinema score or anything like that. And at home, what have we seen? So Sharon, you saw
a film called Awake on Netflix.
That sounds familiar, but yeah, I'll look forward to hear what. Sharon, you saw
Jungleland 2019, Jungleland on Sky Cinema. Yep.
I have seen the poster for that, or the thumbnail for that, and I saw a TV series on Sky called Mare of Easttown with Kate Winslet. Yeah, with Kate Winslet. So let's kick off first, kick off with cinema as we usually do, as we traditionally do, and we will kick off with only one place to start: A Quiet Place Part 2. So let's see. We've all seen this. I'm just trying to get a timer up so I don't get told off again. Right, cool. So A Quiet Place Part 2. I think quickly just to say, so this is a sequel to A Quiet Place, no surprise there. And this was a film that was released, and the basic premise of the first film was there are these creatures out there. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they've come from, but they are very sensitive to sound. So they have come in and they have just started taking out all the humans around the whole place. And the only way you can survive is by not making a sound. You have to keep quiet. If you keep quiet, you might survive. And that is the basic premise. The first film centered around a family, and it was quite a nice, tight little story that I really, really loved. I mean, I think it was one of those films that it's cinematic in the idea that there's large swathes of this film that are really, really quiet, are really, really silent. It's the kind of film that you don't want to go to with a big pack of popcorn because you will be very conspicuous. You become very conscious of the fact that you have a big bag of popcorn because there's massive swathes of the film that don't have much sound in it. And so the second film comes up, and this is one of those things. Whenever you have like a breakout hit like this, I am always a bit worried when they come and they want to do a sequel, because I'm like, the first one was such a particular contained story that when you're going to try and expand it and you're going to try and copy it on, there's so much chance to mess it up. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Did they pull it off? Did they mess it up? Shaun, I can see you jumping in.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
go for it.
Okay, I'm just going to say, I mean, the thing is with this, I mean, the issues which I had with the last one, which I know it's being picky, but these things in the first one are like super fast, like just woof, gone in a flash. Yeah. And they are, I think, in the start of this, it's like woof, and then they suddenly start like climbing bars and going real slow, and like, you know what I mean? It's and I thought, well, what are these? And they sort of, you know, they don't turn up in numbers, and it just sort of, you know, I thought it was a little bit, I didn't quite, no, I don't know. Yeah, no. So that's what I'm going to say. Inconsistent. For me, it was totally inconsistent. And I'm not a big fan of Cillian Murphy. So you know, I didn't like his character at all. I thought, no, totally unbelievable. And there's there's a scene towards the end, which I just thought was ridiculous with, shall we say, you know, like sort of, you know, a little group of people that hang about waterfronts, and it's, you know, and I just thought, and that was nonsense as far as I was concerned. I thought it was, yeah. So okay. Anyway, I don't know what Sharon thought.
Sharon, what did you think?
But I think it's fair to say, Shaun, you didn't really like the first film that much, did you?
I had issues with the first film, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I watched the first film with you, and I was conscious of your body language you weren't loving it. But no, I liked it actually. I didn't dislike the first one. I enjoyed the first one, and for all that there might, you know, there are issues about why is it they can tear through steel but they can't tear through iron if they've got these sort of indestructible claws and stuff. But I didn't really.
I have something to say on that. I have something to say on that, buddy. Yeah, carry on.
But yeah, so I didn't mind this. So I enjoyed it because I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed this one, and again, I don't mind. Yeah, I thought it was interesting the way they have like this sort of turnaround for the younger characters, where instead of the children always being rescued,
that was good.
Children who become the rescuers, and how I'm not entirely comfortable about how the sort of this idea of you reach maturity or you reach that sort of sense of self by an act of violence or by I'm not entirely comfortable with that idea about, you know, you have to shoot something or you have to kill something or you have to take up arms in order to sort of prove your worth. So I'm not comfortable with that, but I like in some ways the justification of like between being the parent and being the child, and it was the child who often ended up being the one. I have
to admit, I was actually quite surprised that in this film, Emily Blunt, who is essentially the big star in the film, takes a back seat for quite a bit of the film. And it's Millicent Simmons who sort of takes the narrative and goes forward with it. So it's really about the kids, about Millicent Simmons and Noah Jupe. And now Noah Jupe, his character, because you're the one who's talking about the whole thing about essentially there's a big part of it is kind of like him becoming a man in the absence of his dad and all that kind of stuff. And his character is... He's a character that I think in real life I would find mega annoying. I would just be like, oh, for goodness sake. And you would have all these things popping up in your head that you're not supposed to say anymore. That, like, you know, things that rhyme with ham up and grow a fair. You would have those sort of things that, you know, and so I can understand that, okay, maybe he has an anxiety problem or anything like that, but almost everything he does in the film, I'm like, no, why are you doing that? Why? And the arc they try and give him, okay, so that's a 5 minutes up. The arc they try and give him in the film, I'm not totally with. I'm not totally with. I think, and in the end, with the way they sort of trying to say, but it's okay now, he stepped. I'm like, ugh. I don't know. And I think Noah Jupe is a really, really good actor. I think he's one of the good young stars that we have nowadays. I don't think he's well served in the film. I think Millicent Simmons is totally served very well in the film.
Yeah.
Who is, and I think it's there's so much more to say. Okay, I'm going to get into.
Well, we can say a bit more. No, you carry on, and I can slim down on the Conjuring. I can do that.
Okay, yeah, we'll take some money. We'll take some time from the Conjuring, and the thing that, because the first film, the idea behind it was part of the tension that was built in the first film was the fact that this family was particularly well equipped to deal with these monsters because they had a deaf daughter. So because they had a deaf daughter, the whole family knows sign language.
Yeah.
So that you could do, and so once you go out there and you start going into other places and stuff, there's you have to go away from that tension that you had, because there's other people who don't know sign language and they need to communicate with them. And there's one particular bit that is a bit, it's very movie, it's very contrived, it's very kind of like, it's essentially, it has to do with a character who doesn't know sign language knowing a particular sign for something that works in a particular point, and you're like, you're kind of like, okay, so out of all the times that you needed to know that one sign, this was the perfect situation that you just happened to know that this sign meant that, so you could do, and I was like, and while it was a bit convenient. It had me a little bit with my head in my hands, but at the same time, things like that have happened to me in real life. So things like that, like I remember being in China and trying to catch a bus out of a small town to go somewhere else. And the night before, I'd been looking through a phrase book, and I happened to be looking up the timings on like how you say 1 hour or something like that. And so when we got to this bus, we're thinking we don't want to get on this bus, and then this guy was just talking to us, and then I realized, oh, he's saying 1 hour. He's saying the next bus is in 1 hour because I was looking that up the night before. So things like that have happened to me. So I can kind of let it slide. But in a film, it's just so convenient that you happen to know that at that point. Shaun, to go on with because I know a big thing that you and friend of the show Joe had with the first film, and the big bone of contention with it being inconsistent is that there's a bit where one of the monsters is on a car and the monster can't pierce its way through the roof of the car, but there's another bit where it's in a grain silo and it bursts its way out of the side of a grain silo. Now, I don't think that that's inconsistent. I think it's the difference between knocking a door down by throwing your weight behind it and punching a door down. You might not be able to punch a door down, but if you threw your weight behind it, you can knock the door down. So anyway,
but I think apart from that, you know, a couple of things, like you got these massive claw marks across the thing, and it just took them too long to get into the car, Tosin, in the first one. It was like 5 minutes, you know, and then they got to get rescued, and it was going boom, 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 boom. So no, I'm not going to accept that one. Sorry, I accept some of the stuff you say, but
with that one, I actually think it's consistent, but we have to go back and we have to forensically wait for the extra that we put online. Where Shaun and I watch The Quiet Place, and we go through scene by scene. You see, that's why that's consistent. That's why that isn't. And the moving slowly, moving quickly thing. What they set up is that when the monsters hear a loud noise, they move quickly. When they're not sure, they're kind of creeping, trying to figure out if there's a noise. So I think the opening of this film, because the film starts on day one where the monsters actually attack. I loved that scene. I thought it was great. There were some bits that, as much as contrived as they were with this film, I still thought that the tension was done really, really well. I thought, okay, that's stupidly contrived. You're just dragging it out now, but at the same time, I'm tense. At the same time, I'm like, why are the hairs on the back of my neck going on? Why am I going, oh, for goodness sake, don't do that. There's a bit where they cut two scenes. They're cutting from two locations. What's happening in this location? What's happening in that location? It's a bit convenient that they're all happening at the same time. The way the way the film ends, because the first film ends on, I really like the way it ends with sort of almost like a punch the air moment, and then the second film tries to end with something kind of similar, and I don't really think it pulls it off. So I don't think it's as good as the first one, and I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it acts as a nice companion to the first one. But yeah, there are flaws. So I would agree with you, Tosin. I would give it a 3 out of 5. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yep. And although I've got lots of issues with with the film, and I have got lots of issues with the film, and I still think the speed one. I think there's a couple of times in it when they would have been like whoosh when they heard something instead of just sort of listening. They'd have been on it like that. Bang.
Yeah.
That's it. Finished. But I didn't actually hate it. So
okay, cool.
I think a lot of people must. I think I can understand the intrinsic point that you guys have come up with some really, really good points, especially with the kids. As I say, I wasn't so keen on Cillian Murphy, but I will give it a 3. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a 3. I think it's a 3. It's a valiant effort to do a follow up to the film. Yeah. I'm still not sure they should have done it.
No. That's it. I must be getting mellow in my old age.
Okay, cool. And so now with that, let's go over to one of let's see. We're gonna hear Shaun talk a bit. So Sharon, do you want to go? Yep. Tell us a little bit about Awake.
Awake. Yes, Awake is a Netflix film, a new release. It is about a mother with a troubled past who has 2 young children, and there is an event. There's like a solar flare that affects the planet, and it causes an EMP, and at the same time it also scrambles people's sort of synapses, and people can no longer fall asleep.
Ooh.
And one of the consequences of not being able to fall asleep is that when a very short amount of time, people become disorientated, they can't focus, they can then hallucinate, they can then basically their motor functions start to deteriorate, and eventually after about a week people just start dying. They just can't cope with the human body is not designed to not cope.
Yeah, to not fall asleep. Yeah.
And in this world, suddenly they realise that her daughter, who is something like 10 years old, can still sleep. And there is a government facility that has been set up to study. There's one other person who can't sleep as well that they have found, who is in this facility. And this basically is this place is the only hope. And so you see the story is basically this woman with her 2 children, how she tries to get them from one place to another with all the events that happen in between. But basically the premise is, yes, it's a woman in peril with her children trying to find an answer to what can they do? Why is their daughter able to sleep and no one else can? And is there a cure? Is there something about her daughter that can be either studied or discovered that could help other people to sleep as well? Yeah. And you have encounters with a church group. You have encounters with some sort of convicty type people where the local jail, because people aren't functioning anymore, they just, and the EMP meant that nothing electronic works. Yeah. So all the security at the local jail has just given up. So you've got all these sort of criminally type people.
Yeah, a church. I was also going to say a church group in a post-apocalyptic Hollywood movie never goes well. No, it never ends well. Though actually in this one, the pastor was quite sympathetic. Though, as usual, most of the congregation seem to be sort of nutters. And then you throw in guns, and that's always a good combination. Apocalypse, religious people, and guns. Guns! Yeah.
Guns.
Perfect.
And then they also meet. There's a military facility. So again, it's like nutters, guns, post-apocalypse. What could possibly go wrong? It's quite a concise story. It's about an hour and a half long, and I read a book a number of years ago, a science fiction novel called Nod, which was based on the same principle as what happens if people can no longer fall asleep, and that developed in a slightly different way. So it was quite interesting to see a sort of a different take on that same premise.
Yeah.
Whereas it's quite a simple story, I think, quite a simple setup, and the actual answer in the end was quite straightforward. Not an awful lot to say about it, really. It's entertaining for what it was, nothing hugely surprising. I didn't suddenly go, wow, that's an amazing take on that story. I would give it a 3 and say, check it out if you want just a not terribly demanding watch. But if you like your science fiction, you like your sort of something slightly different, then it's an interesting one. But I'd say solid, entertaining, but nothing spectacular. But a solid 3.
Does it have a well-known actress in it?
Yes.
Who's that?
There's Jennifer Jason Leigh pops up as like a scientisty type person.
Who plays the mother who's trying to get the kids across the place?
I recognized her, but I don't know. She was like the Americans would say a Latino actress, but that's not a term we tend to use in this country. But I recognized her, but I don't know her name offhand.
Oh, okay, cool.
But let me have a look to see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's probably Alice Braga.
Quickly.
But because I feel like it's one of those films I feel it sounds a little bit like what was that Sandra Bullock one? Something bird something.
Oh, box.
Bird box.
Bird box. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different. That's where they lose. The creatures fry with your brains, and you want to kill yourself if you see them. Your brain can't comprehend what you've seen. Oh. I've actually got the two books here, just next to me, Bird Box and Mallory.
Oh, cool. Okay, so while you're looking that up, and just
Gina Rodriguez. Sorry, Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, Gina Rodriguez. Oh, yeah. From Fast and the Furious fame.
Yeah, Shaun, that's why I didn't recognize her because I don't watch
Oh, right.
Shaun,
okay.
Fast and the Furious 9
coming. There's a new one. There's a new one. I know.
Fast and Furious 9. Are you sharpening your knives yet? Your knives?
I saw the posters, and I'm like, mind you, there's a couple of other people that have said to me, I am not going to bother with it. I'm surprised. There's a lot of people that say it's just getting sillier and sillier and sillier.
It is getting sillier and sillier. I mean, Fast and Furious 9. I saw the trailer for that, and in the trailer alone, there's at least 3 moments where I go, "Oh, for goodness sake!"
I came to that point at film number 2, so I've only actually seen the first Fast and the Furious film. So I reached that point 8 films ago.
No, I mean, because it's just got dumber and dumber, and like there's bits where you go, "Okay, I know you have your own laws of physics, but come on." There's a bit in the trailer where they have a muscle car. A muscle car on a rope bridge. And you can see that one end of the rope bridge has been cut, Indiana Jones style. And the car is still driving on the bridge, trying to get to the other side of the bridge before the rope bridge falls down. And the car's in the middle of the bridge. I'm like, no!
Do they not even know? Have they not even heard of Isaac Newton?
No, they haven't. That's the thing. They haven't. The Fast and the Furious movies haven't heard about this, and I think that there's some people who are involved in them who
needs to drop an apple on their head, obviously.
There's people who are involved in this film who just totally take them, and they know that these films are taking them, and they're just running with it. But anyway, also one thing I wanted to say about Quiet Place Part 2. I mean, obviously, did anybody else get pandemic vibes from this film?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's like we're all indoors. You can't leave your house. You can't do anything. There's this thing that's outdoors that if you go, it's gonna kill you. And I was like going, never saw this in the first film, but it's go. And also Love and Monsters. After watching Love and Monsters and record, I just kept watching this film going, hang on a second, isn't the storyline of this is very Love and Monsters? We've got to leave the house that we haven't left for ages. We've got to go from this place to that. We've got to do something with the radio. We've got to put out a message that I was like, hang on. I was like, whoa, dude.
And there's pirates.
Yes.
You've obviously got You've obviously got issues with it, Tosin.
No. It's not. It's not issues. It was just things that popped. What the heck is going on? Sorry, I think something in my office is trying to blow up. But
I hope there's none of those creatures about.
It might be one of those creatures. Yeah, that noise would mean that. But no, that depends, Shaun. It could be one of the older ones, one of the geriatric ones that moves very slowly. So
they've been on Earth a bit longer.
I reckon I got another 30 seconds. Okay, cool. So that is 3 for Awake. And now we're going to go back to cinema, and we're going to go back to Nobody, a film that I'm going to be honest with you, when I've heard about this film, it made me think of a combination of two things, because it's been widely publicized that it comes from the people who made John Wick.
Yeah.
So it made me think of John Wick, but when I hear about the storyline of Nobody, it makes me think of the David Cronenberg film A History of Violence. Now,
yeah, I remember that film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, Shaun.
So basically, this story, it starts off really sort of quite mundane. Just it shows like Wednesday, Thursday. He misses the he's got this family, and then the house gets broken into, and he's got he could actually take out these burglars. He's got a chance, and he doesn't, but his son does, and he's like, Dad, why didn't you? He lets them go, basically. He lets them go. But there's obviously some tensions there. There's tensions between his wife and tensions between his kids, and especially now his son's like looking at him, going, "Oh, well,
You're useless."
Yeah, you're useless. So he goes out. He goes to see his dad, and his dad's like, how's it going? He goes, "Yeah, I'm getting a bit upset here and all that." And during the robbery, this the necklace, his young daughter's necklace, has sort of gone missing. So he decides he's going to go and find it. So he gets on the bus to go and find this bracelet and he finds the people who burgled his house, and they're not particularly. They're like they've got a baby, they've got no money, they're not really. There was never any bullets in the gun, and so he sort of lets it go. Yeah. And on his journey back, this car crashes, and some people. It's practically in the trailer, this bit. So, and they stop and they sort of get on this bus, and everybody gets off, but he's not. He's just sat there at the back. And I don't know. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't seen the trailer, but I'm expecting the next words you say to be, and it all kicks off.
And it all kicks off. It really does. It's like he's obviously had this pent up frustration for like ages, and he sort of everyone gets off the bus because they're all a bit scared. First of all, there's this bit where there's a guy on the bus that he's gonna step in, and he looks at the protagonist, and the protagonist doesn't do anything, so he gets off, and there's this young girl left, and he just walks off, says to the bus driver, he says, don't bother calling the police, pushes the bus driver out, shuts the door, says something rather rude, and they all laugh like that, and then it kicks off. It's so it's pretty mayhem, but again, it turns out I suppose it's pretty cliche, because it turns out that the people, he does some serious damage to some of them.
Yeah.
And obviously they're like Russians or Eastern Europeans. They're Russians basically, that have been, and one that's injured is the brother of like a super Russian that's got like 500,000 henchmen.
Okay, so
and they
far history of violence.
History of violence. Yes. So yeah, basically, this is putting a human story on John Wick, basically, So and it turns out, So so he goes, where he's working is a big factory, like steel pipes and memories. I'm not sure if you'd like this, Sharon, because memories of Rambo sort of come back. The last one we saw.
Rambo Last Blood.
Some of it, yeah, but not that bad. So it might be worth a shot. It's much more John Wicky than Rambo Last Blood, but there are moments where there is those sort of traps, should we say? That some.
That.
So it's lots of red stuff flying everywhere, and what have you. There's a lot of that, but he got his dad. His dad basically is. He was the guy who played the professor in Back to the Future. I can't remember the guy's name. Christopher Lloyd, yeah. But he's really, really old, and he's like in an old people's home. And obviously, being the Russians, they want to take out the family, don't they? So, but he's got a few tricks. Let's just say he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. Yeah. And also, someone who I haven't seen since Man with the Iron Fist, Raz's in it. RZA. So, and I like RZA. I think he's great. I think he's pretty cool, and he's obviously something in think Equalizer, mate. Like in the Equalizer, he's got the odd friends now and then. So of course, so he gets a bit of company to help along the way, and it builds up into this massive free for all with lots of shooting, lots of fighting, lots of blood, and it is very, very light-hearted. Even there's some really, really quite funny light-hearted moments in it.
Well, the thing is that once you have a film that starts off from the people who brought you John Wick, you're not really expecting.
No, you're not expecting subtlety, are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're expecting style. You're expecting style. You're expecting, like, for instance, John Wick. The storyline. What happened? They killed his dog. He killed them all. That's it.
That's it. So, as I say, this puts more of a human side to than John Wick. John Wick was just relentless, wasn't he? The character in this, he's got more. He's more of a human face, and. Yeah, it is. It was just really, really fun. So, I've really, really enjoyed this. And yeah, it might have been a bit silly, might have been a bit stupid, but I really, really enjoyed the movie. I don't think there was anything too dumb. that I haven't seen in anything else. You really, really enjoyed the story. And also, I saw it with Happy John, and Happy John rated it very, very highly. So, and if Happy John rates anything
Happy John likes it. We're happy.
Happy John likes it because Happy John likes nothing.
Yeah, just in case you have not listened to the podcast before, you're not aware. The name Happy John is a little bit tongue in cheek.
Yes, yeah.
It's a little bit tongue in cheek. So if Happy John liked it, then okay, cool.
Yeah.
So how many stars did you give it?
For enjoyability, I'm going to give this one a 4. This gets a nice 4-star from me because it's right up my street. Okay. I enjoyed it.
That's good. Okay, I might give you guys a warning, a prior warning. Seeing as I'm only allowed to watch one film a week, this might be the film I watch next week anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, go for it. That'd be good.
Okay. So that was Nobody. 4 stars for Nobody. And now we're going to move on to back to Netflix and Friends. And this is a show that I watched called Mare of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet. And this is a show that quite frankly I had no interest in watching whatsoever, because I was like, I could see that it showed up on the Sky thing and it says Mare of Easttown, and it had Kate Winslet in it, and to me it looked like, you know, when they did True Detective or something, we get film star, we put film star in a central role in a TV show, which is it's a trick that I feel HBO have pulled a couple of times, and most of the time I'm not particularly interested. But this film, just kept getting more and more buzz, and I kept seeing articles pop up, and they were talking about, this Kate Winslet this and Kate Winslet that, and Kate Winslet talks about her husband and about how her husband looks after their kids, and there were all these opinion pieces about, why should that be a big deal? And there was a particular opinion piece that, and this seems to have gotten a lot of press, about the fact that Kate Winslet has a sex scene in it, and she spoke about the fact that there's a bit where you see a little bit of her, you see her stomach, and there's a bulge. And the director had offered to digitally remove the bulge for her, and she had declined. And this got everybody up in arms, because obviously this is a show of Hollywood being sexist once again, and chauvinist, and a patriarchal society thinking what women's bodies should look like. And I was like, what the? Okay, I'm a bit ashamed to say that that's what got me to watch this show, but I decided to watch this show to see what all the fuss was about. And this show, it sort of it shows all the things that I thought. Like okay, it's essentially going to be, it's a murder story. It's like they live in this small town outside Pennsylvania, or it's outside Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. And it's a small knit community. You get to meet Kate Winslet's mayor, who is a detective in the police station, and you realize that this is a very small community. Everybody knows her. When there's a problem, instead of actually calling the police station, they just call her on her personal mobile, and they say, Mayor, I've got a prowl outside my house. Mayor, I've got this. Mayor, I've got that. And as it goes on, you find out more about her family. You find out the fact she has a daughter, she has a grandson with her, but it's never clear. She has a grandson, but it's never clear who the grandson's parents are. They just that comes clear after a while. It becomes clear after a while. She lives with her mother, or rather her mother lives with her. And there's all these different characters that you get introduced to. There is an ongoing case at the beginning of the show where somebody that she used to be friends with, her daughter went missing, has been missing for a year. And everybody sort of blames Mare that, why haven't you found her? You're not doing anything as the police. So there's that going on in the background. Then a young girl gets killed. And the next 7 episodes, or the 7 episodes, are about trying to figure out that there's all these different strands. There's strands all over the show. And there's a TV show called Vera. You guys know Vera, right?
Yes.
With I think it's Brenda Blethyn.
That's it.
Yeah, and this just gives me the feeling of it's like a season of Vera. The only difference is that now you have an A-lister in the main thing. Like, I don't think that the story is anything new. Small town, someone gets killed. We're going to try and find the murderer. We're going to try and find... There's going to be familial things. There's going to be this going on. What's going to happen? There's going to be close to the main detective.
There's going to be secrets that don't want to be revealed that get revealed.
Exactly. All of those things in the playbook. And also the fact that you have... And even they even do this whole thing where, and they keep trying to fake you out, like, this is gonna happen, and there it is, we found the killer. But you're like, hang on a second, we've got 2 episodes left, so no.
It's like the killing in that regard, isn't it? You guessed the killer every week, and then it was like, fooled you again, and it's not, and they kept stringing you along.
I think this has a lot from The Killing. I actually went along to look on it because I would not be surprised if this was a remake of a Scandi noir, because it very much has that feeling. And the Mare character has a very much sort of like, what's her name, Esther Lund in The Killing.
Yes.
Yeah, it has very much that feeling. So all in all, I mean, that storyline and everything like that, I think it's well done. I think it's well acted, obviously with A-listers. But I won't tell you who it is, but they almost kind of like, they use the casting, I think, almost as a red herring, because there's some big name actors who they put in the show who do nothing. They have like they make absolutely no difference to the storyline whatsoever. And I'm thinking, why the heck did you pay? Okay, I'm guessing that if you put him in there, probably everybody would think, oh well, that's the killer. But it's gonna, but it's, and so there's some things in there where I feel as if they're trying to play with your expectations of what this kind of show should be. I think it's all right. I don't think it's anything other than what you'd see on ITV on a Saturday night. I don't think it's that much more. It's kind of like Unforgotten. I think I would rather watch a season of Unforgotten than watch this. I would give it a 3 out of 5. And the final thing I will say on this is the whole controversy that got me to watch this show in the first place. I watched the entire season. The show ended, and I was like, "What the? When was it?" And I was like, "Wait, what? That was it?" And I watched the entire season waiting for this big moment that was going to come up, and I was going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what they were talking about. It is literally, it is a second, if that, in the first episode. And I had to go back, watch it, pause it, to see what the heck the fuss was about. I didn't even see it.
So you could see Kate Winslet's tummy.
I didn't even notice anything. I honestly didn't see anything. There was nothing untoward. So I just feel like there was a bit of a storm in a teacup about it. Kate Winslet is brilliant. Julian Nicholson, who plays the best friend, is brilliant. The performances are great, but I think that the storyline is something, if you watch the Scandi Noir, you've seen it. If you watched Vera, you've seen it. If you watched the season of Unforgotten, you've seen it. So I don't think the storyline is anything major to write home about, and I think they know that. So that's why there's all these storylines all over the place that don't quite coalesce, but there's a lot of red herrings trying to throw you off the scent of what they're trying to do. But when you get to the final episode and you've caught the killer, and you know there's still 30 minutes left, you know something else is gonna happen. Yes. So yeah, anyway, maybe it's a show that maybe could benefit from not having a progress bar at the bottom telling you how long it is that you've been watching it for. And all right, so that's Mare of Easttown, and I'll give that a 3 out of 5. And now we go to The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the film that Shaun gave a nice little 5-minute review last week. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I say a little bit. I didn't give it too much thing, just to say, because I mean we like to have the same amount of cinema as film. So yeah, basically it's a story of a murder, but the defense was demonic possession. The defense was demonic possession. Now, out of all the ones like Paranormal Activity and the whatever and the other Sinister ones and all those, Insidious, the Conjurings are the ones I can probably be a little bit forgiving for whatever reason. But anyway. But to start off with, this film, and I think I might have said it last week, is basically the first bit before even the subtitles come up is exorcism, and it's just shot for shot out of the film, The Exorcist. Basically, it's just basically, I think I probably said that last week. So it's basically a shot out of The Exorcist, and then the titles come up, and then it goes to this story of a murder that was committed, and the defense is going to be demonic possession, and it's basically the couple trying to prove this demonic possession. And I didn't think it was I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, it didn't scare me. Nothing seems to scare me these days. I don't think I've been scared at all. I'm just dying to be scared.
Only Happy John.
Happy John scares me. Happy John does. He goes,
Sean is like, I have a teenage daughter. Nothing scares me.
Nothing scares me. No. One day there's going to be something that's scared. I mean, Sharon, you're not big on the horror genre yourself, are you?
I don't mind schlock horror. So I like my zombies and I like my... I'm not keen on anything that's realistic or psychological. So I don't mind your schlock horror. Your
blood
vampires, zombies and that sort of horror I'm fine with. But yeah, I'm not into your creeping up behind you wearing death masks and stabbing people 100 times. Not really.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Those 80 slasher picks. I think this is a bit more. This is a little bit more thoughtful. This is in this movie they go through a process of trying to find, to trying to prove things. Yeah. So, but I don't think any of them are particularly scary.
Yeah, because the Conjuring movies, they're kind of almost sort of paranormal detective stories.
I think they are. Yeah, that's basically it. So they're like a detective story, and this wasn't half bad. And so, as I say, I would probably give this a 3-star. Because I didn't like hate it or anything like that. And I've watched some of the others, and the first one I might have had a few. I have a little couple of issues, and I'm thinking, well, blah, 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 or it's a bit cliched, or there's a bit. But what I mean is, I didn't like huff and puff. I wasn't the huffle puffler. Like Sharon says, when she can feel the tension rising in me when I start to bubble up. And that
I can always tell. You don't have to say anything, but I can feel.
No, I know. I can feel. You can feel. It's like
when you enjoy a film, you're like horizontal, but when you don't like it, you get further and further up in your seat, and then I can feel you fidgety.
But I also think I would also imagine that The Conjuring, you went into this film with your expectations in the toilet.
Yes, pretty much. Probably not that bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be. Yeah, we needed things, and it was cinema. Cinema was back.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I watch it because cinema's here, and I love cinema, and just the experience of being back in the cinema was superb.
Sure, you know what I would have loved? What I would have paid money to see if cinema had come back and the only film showing for the first week was the Fast and the Furious 9. It was the Fast and the Furious. I would have gone.
I would have
paid good money for that. Oh my god!
Is that it? Well, it's like me if I turned up and it was all animation. I'd be going, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah.
Oh man, okay, that thought is gonna give me chuckling for like the next. It's gonna give me chuckling for like the next day or so. All right, cool. So now we get back to Netflix for our final thing, of the show, which is Shaun. You said you saw Jungleland.
Jungleland, yeah.
Now, I've been seeing the thumbnail, as I said, for this on Sky Cinema. Tell us what is this all about? What made you watch it?
Okay, well, basically, this is a story of two brothers. That one of them's got out of prison and he's been in a bit of trouble, but one of the brothers is a really, really super good bare knuckle fighter, and they said, "Oh, we can make some money because he can do these bare knuckle fights." And he meets one of his ex compatriots, and basically they says, "Right, okay, you're going to have to do this for me to pay your debt." And so a girl has to tag along, and they're heading off to this big competition. Things happen along the way and they get mixed up and they get into fights and they go. Now, the reason I watched this is because it's got two of my favorite actors, and the one that I really, really can't think of being good in anything. I think he might have been in one good thing. Anyway, you're going to love this, aren't you?
No. I'm trying to think. Jason Clarke.
No, Jason Clarke. No, it's not Jason Clarke. I'm trying to think. I might have liked him in one thing. I might have even liked him in two, but most of the things I've done.
Stanley Tucci.
No. This is a different one. So this is. Anyway, I'll say one of them. This is one of them that I liked was Jack O'Connell. Which
in
71. I really, really like that. Another actor was Jessica Barden, who I think I really, really like, and I've seen her in a few bits.
Oh, she's in The End of the Effing World.
Yes.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. Yeah.
She's and I like her in some of the things I've seen her in. She was also in an old film called Hannah, like a while ago. That was when I first, and she was in Tamara Drew, and I think she's really, really versatile. And she was in a couple of episodes of Penny Dreadful.
Oh yeah.
So that was really good.
The one you don't like,
and the one I don't like,
Gareth Hedlund.
Go on, have a guess. No.
Oh,
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, because So,
but you didn't watch Sons of Anarchy though, did you?
No, I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy.
No, so if you watch Sons of Anarchy, I think people have a completely different view of him.
But I mean, he was in like the Lost City of Z and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway,
I'll say like I guess the one film that you kind of maybe like that you give him a pass for. No, actually, he wasn't in that film. That was Gareth Hedlund. I was going to say Triple Frontier. Nope, never mind me. Carry on.
No. Okay. So anyway, so basically the story and this girl that they're taking along, is a real handful, and she can cause, she's causing lots of trouble. So the two brothers are like, they're trying to make their way across. They get money. They've been given money. They've been given a car, but they lose the car. They get into a fight, and so there's all these little things that go along the way while they're making their way across to. And one of the characters obviously falls for the girl, and it turns out that something's happened. This girl has got something that someone wants, and it gets a bit bloody for a little while, but they do make it to the fight scene, and I don't really want to put too many spoilers in there.
Okay, cool.
That sort of way. So it's basically an adventure story. Two brothers, one's a bit exploitive of the other brother, but towards the end, they sort of, work it out, shall we say?
Yeah.
And so basically that's it. There's a time when this girl runs off, and they got to get her, and there's a time in the bar, and the fighter got drunk, and obviously he's going to get in a fight, so the older brother has to come in and say, yeah, calm it all down and stuff. So it's just a series of, it's just an adventure movie really, with stories with a serious tone.
Is it a bit like a Peanut Butter Falcon in that sort of adventure Mark Twain type style story?
No, it's a bit more serious than that. It's a bit more. It's a little bit more gritty than that type of thing, I think, because with some of the incidents. But basically, it's it's a what can we say? It's a family story really about two brothers, and what happens on this journey. They have a journey together.
Oh, Jessica Oh my! She wasn't Tamara Drew. She was one of the two girls who had a crush on the film star.
The rock star. That's the one. Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. Oh God, yeah, it was her. So, sorry, I'm just realizing that now, because I saw Tamara Drew for the first time a while back, and I didn't connect the dots. But I agree with you. I think Jessica Barden is really good.
She's versatile. She can play a lot. I've seen her in quite a few different roles, and I think she was in that one called Hannah with Saoirse, I can never say her name. Saoirse Ronan, where she's like the secret eight, always trained, and she's one.
You see now I have to go back and watch that film now because I don't remember this at all.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So, but as I say, I just think she's really and Jack O'Connell, I think he's absolutely he's
good.
Great in this, really really good in this. Charlie Hunnam lets it down. He does. Honestly, he does. I don't like the guy. I cannot. I mean, perhaps it must just be something that I don't see, but I don't like him in much.
No, but sure, it's all right because I think I'm a big tennis fan, and there's some tennis players that I just have I have a totally irrational dislike of. I can't put my finger on it. I just know I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's like the face shows up, and I'm like, I want to punch something, and I don't know why. And it's like, so it's okay. I know you have your fair share of actors, and I reeled out a couple of them who you just don't like them on screen. But So how many stars would you give this?
I'm going to give that one. I'll give this one a 3-star.
3-star. Okay, cool. 3-star. So we have a 3-star film. So now we have the final verdict. And here we have it. We have Netflix and we have cinema. Who do we think has won this week? So, Shaun.
Well, for me, I think it's been 3 across the board, except for Nobody, which was a 4. So cinema squeaked it.
Yeah, like I said, there's only 1 4. I was trying to think what the 4 was for. So yeah, I would agree. There was 1 4 for cinema.
Nobody got a 4.
Nobody got a 4, yeah. And go watch it. Toes, watch that because I'd love your thoughts on it. And it's always great to see, when you watch things, how you know.
It's okay, just first of all to say yes, cinema for the second week in a row, cinema has squeaked it by having one film that had a 4 that had a 4 in it. So the truth is, Nobody is the kind of film that I feel like they I'm about to sort of like repeat ourselves. Say I feel like they don't make them that much anymore, but they don't make them like that anymore. They don't make them like they used to. But especially with the last year we've had, I think Nobody is a film that's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's just supposed to go in there and you're supposed to sit down and have a blast with it. And I feel like that nowadays there's too much of a we've got to make it serious. We've got to make it broody. We've got to make it this. We've got to make it that. And I'm not. That's what I'm expecting from Nobody. I'm expecting Nobody to be like hey, this is Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk is known for being a comedian. He's known for being a comedian. Then he played Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad. He now has his TV show Better Call Saul. So if it's Bob, it's essentially seen a guy who's known for doing comedy who wants to have his go at Jerry action like Liam Neeson did.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. I'm not expecting great things from this film. I'm expecting to just have a good time where I walk around going, yeah, that was silly, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was fun. That's what I expect from Nobody. If nobody gives me that, I will be happy. so that's what I expect from that. But until next week, where hopefully I watch Nobody, I get to watch Nobody. It's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for joining us on Netflix for the cinema.
Cool. Sharon, do you...